Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be creating a spring nail look by incorporating dip powders, and then we're also going to be incorporating some really intricate reverse nail stamping, which is perfect for spring. Wait till you see the stamping plate that we're going to be diving into. Our nail set today, we are doing a set of press-ons on the shape short coffin, and we're starting off with dip liquids. I'm using a very thin layer of dip liquids. The liquids that we're using today are very thin viscosity from Sparkle & Co. They work wonders when you are making press-ons. So we're dipping into the first color, which is called Put a Ring on It. And you can see here we have great coverage right off the bat. It's a really gorgeous white with a very subtle, almost like a gold, just a slight bit of gold shimmer shining through. It's really beautiful, and when the light hits it, you can really see that glitter just come to the surface. But we're only going to do one coat because this is going to be our background and our foundation for the nails that we're going to end up stamping on in a little bit. But I just wanted a very delicate white wash over the nail, and then I really wanted a little bit of sparkle pulling through, and you're going to see that stamping here in just a little bit. So if you are here just for the stamping, if you click on the description box of the video, you will see all the chapters so you can easily find the section that you're looking for today's video. So I went ahead and dusted off. We're going to go ahead and incorporate this color on one other nail. Then we're going to throw in some more spring colors just to really tie everything together. So for the liquids that I'm using today, I'm doing a very thin layer over the entire nail. I start right below the cuticle line when I'm making a press on, and then I'll work that product up. When you're making a press on, the thinner you can get your layers, the better. It's really going to help keep the shape of the nail. It's also going to help cut down bulk. Also right here, you can see every time we dip, I am going to spend some time making sure I'm pressing everything down on the side. That's really going to help you keep the shape of the nail as well. Now the best part about today's set, you don't necessarily need to use dip powders. You could use regular nail polish as your base color for your stamping nail, or you could use your favorite gel color. But the moment I saw these colors from Valkyrie Dips, especially this blue glitter that we're going to be playing with and this beautiful pink, I knew I had to do a really fun spring set with them. All right, so this color right here, Moment, I love this color so much, but we're going to pivot in a different direction, and I kept this clip in here just to show you how beautiful this color really is. I feel like this color is perfect for spring break. It's also a great green to have in your collection. This is going to be really fun if you want like a neon pastel kind of a vibe. This color is really gorgeous, but it wasn't the look that I was going for when I saw the pink and the blue together. So I decided just to keep it in here just so you could see this color. But we're going to end up pivoting into a different direction, and I'm actually going to change this nail to that beautiful pink color that we're going to get into in just a minute, called Blushing, just to kind of tie everything in together. But I do really like this color. So this color, it's a beautiful solid. There's no shimmer in it or anything like that. And it's a very soft, minty, but a brighter green. I wouldn't say it's a neon green. It's definitely more of like that neon pastel look, and it's really beautiful. I used it before, and I just love it for the summertime, but it's a really great color. You can see I have no staining or anything like that on my brush or anything like that. And after you see the other two colors that we're going to be using, you're going to see why I went into a different direction. It just flowed a lot better on the eyes, and the whole color palette just looked a lot lighter because I wanted a lighter palette, because the focal point is not only these beautiful dip powders, but we're already going to have a lot going on with the very intricate stamping that we're going to be doing here in a little bit. So I didn't want this pop of color to kind of take away from that stamping that we're going to be utilizing. So this is what the color looks like with two coats. And then with these dip liquids, I would say they're on the faster dry time, because I dip, I can go ahead and press everything down, and then I can just go right ahead and brush everything off. Now we're getting into Twinkle Lights, which is a beautiful small glitter mixture, and it has hints of mint in here. It also has white, and then depending on what way the light hits it, it also has a very iridescent green flecks in it. It's really beautiful. And this right here, this color is not only perfect for spring, but this is perfect for summer. I feel like this is really fun for winter as well. I feel like pairing this with some lavender colors, and then also for summer doing some bright pinks. This right here is absolutely beautiful, and I love this color so much. So you can see when the glitter, it's a little bit, looks a little bit textured, but once you just press everything down, everything lays really flat. I also like how it's a very just like iridescent sheen to it. It almost looks like it has like a hint of matte glitters mixed in with these beautiful iridescent ones in here. So it's a very subtle shimmer. It's very forgiving, and I just like how it's just like the perfect touch of bling. It's not like that ultimate crazy sparkle accent nail. It's just very subtle, and it's really just going to tie in to all the colors that we're using today. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and build it up just a little bit more, and this is when you're going to see this color really come to life. So we dipped into the jar. Now the jar, if you want a little bit more wiggle room, you could always dump that powder into a cupcake liner. That way you have a lot more wiggle room. You're not accidentally bumping that nail or anything like that. So now we're just going to press everything down, making sure we're keeping that shape of the nail. And you can see we have the perfect minty blue situation going on. So after we press everything down, I'm going to go back in with an orange wood stick and just clean up the underneath side of that press-on nail to make sure that we have a clean surface when it comes to application. Also for application, I do not use a nail glue. I prefer to use dip base, so I'll just use the same dip base that we're using today, and I apply a little bit on my natural nail, and then I'll apply a little bit of the dip base to the actual press-on nail, and then I'll go ahead and hold that nail down to my natural nail for 30 seconds, and then I'll move on and then apply the other nails, and then I avoid any lotions, cuticle oils, hot water, or anything like that. I like to apply my press-ons before bed. I feel like I get the longevity, and then that way that dip base can really adhere to my nails. But I just find, for me personally, the dip base lasts a lot longer than your traditional nail glue. And if you are going to be using dip base for your nail glue, just keep in mind, do not use an odorless dip liquid and do not use a slow drying dip liquid. You really want to have a quick drying dip liquid if you are using that method to apply your press-ons. All right, so now we're moving on to the next color, which is called Blushing, which is a gorgeous shimmery light pink. It's almost like a baby pink, but for me right now, since my mind is in like total spring season right now, this is definitely giving me that soft, shimmery cherry blossom look, and I really love the coverage. You can see we have great coverage with this color right here because this is a very light pink, and a lot of times when you are playing with very, very light pinks, they can look chalky, they can be really hard to work with, but this one right here, since it has a shimmer in it, it's very forgiving on the nail. Now, after I brushed off, I noticed I had a little bare spot, so we're going to go ahead and fix that with our second coat, and that is because, well, obviously I didn't put dip base on that area, but I'm working with dip liquids today that are basically almost gone, and I'm just using them one last time just to kind of finish them off, and I'm not getting a lot of product on my brush, so I just overlooked that when the first go around, but we can easily fix that when we go in with our second dip. So I'm going to make sure I'm really focusing on that area and just completely covering the entire nail with a very thin layer of that dip base. But once we go ahead and apply that dip base and then dip that nail back into the jar, you're never even going to notice that was a sparse area. It's just going to blend in perfectly. But this color right here is definitely a must have. I feel like you can do so much with it. It's very buildable. I feel like it looks beautiful with one coat, but it looks even better. You're going to see here in just a second with two coats, but I feel like this is such a soft, beautiful pink, and I really like how that shimmer is just very light and delicate. And then see how it's just like that perfect touch of softness. So then when you pair it with that beautiful minty sparkle that we just did, and then all of a sudden your eye goes to that brighter green, it just wasn't flowing. So this is when I decided after I brushed this off that we were going to go ahead and swap out that green nail, and we're just going to go ahead and incorporate some more of this beautiful pink. So I'm going to go in with the orange wood stick and just clean up a small area. And now that we brushed everything off, you can see that area that was bare is completely covered. You can't even tell that we had a sparse spot. All right, now before we go ahead and eliminate that green nail completely, this is what the set looks like with that green nail. You can see your eye just goes directly to that bright green. So we're going to go ahead and fix that. And here's what it looks like with the pink nail. All the colors now just really flow together and it's very soft and delicate. So then we have our pops of color that will shine through when we get into that stamping. Before filing and buffing, I am going to do a layer of clear dip powder on this glitter nail only. Since this was not a finer glitter, it was more like on the smaller granule side, I really want to make sure we're preserving this beautiful sparkle. So I'm doing a very thin layer of dip base, and then we're going to dip directly into that clear, and then we're going to go ahead and tap off. Now the clear powder that I'm using is from 915 Aesthetics, and this has been the only clear powder that I've been using for the last year. I love this clear so much. It is the purest clear that I have in my collection, and it leaves the finish crystal clear. I also like how it's a very finely milled clear. Sometimes when you're working with clears, they can be really grainy and they can feel really gritty. This just feels really soft and just like almost like butter. So I really like the outcome of this clear. I just feel like it makes all the difference in the world and gives me that crystal clear finish. So I'm just pressing everything down, and then once that nail is dry, I waited about a minute. I went ahead and gave this nail a good scrub just to remove any extra clear powder that may be lingering. And this will also help you get a clear finish, because if you do not brush that extra clear off, you're naturally going to create a hazy effect on the nail, so your color won't be as vibrant. It'll look a little bit foggy. So just to avoid that, I like to use a stiff nail brush. I always like to wait like a minute or two before I go ahead and use that brush, just to make sure that my dip base is completely dry. Because if you go in with that brush and your dip base is still wet, you could actually remove some of that dip powder and you could create imperfections in that nail. So now that we have the activator on all the nails, I let that sit for about 2 minutes. And once everything was hardened, I went ahead and just did a really light buff on all the nails. And I had very minimal buffing and filing to do since everything was laying super flat. We also took those extra steps in the beginning to make sure that we were pressing everything down to really keep the shape of the nail. So all I'm doing is lightly buffing, and now I'm focusing on the underneath side of that nail just to make sure we have a clean surface when it comes time to applying that press-on nail to our natural nail. But overall, really easy. I really love these dip powders from Valkyrie Dips. They're very beginner friendly. And then the combination of these powders with the dip liquids is definitely chef's kiss. So we're just cleaning up the shape just a little bit here. And then we are almost done and we're about ready to get into that stamping. So I'm going to go ahead and brush this off. And then I'm going to go ahead and do another layer of activator on all the nails. And then just to save some time today, I'm going to finish up the rest of the filing and buffing off camera. But you can see once the activator hits it, we get rid of all those harsh filing and buffing lines, and the color just comes right back to life, and it's such a beautiful color. All right, so here's what the set looks like before we add any nail art. It's beautiful just like this, but now it's time to get into the stamping. So we're going to be using stamping plates from Maniology, and all the polishes that we're using are also from Maniology. So we're going to start off with a black base color, and I'm just applying a little bit to the palette, and then we're going to go ahead and scrape that off, and then we're going to roll the stamper, and we have the perfect image. If you have any areas of perfection, you could always remove that and start over. And I'm just taking a little bit piece of tape and just removing any extra image that we do not need. And then this is going to be our foundation. So now it's time to pick out the beautiful colors. So we're going to start off with some pastel colors, and we're going to focus on filling in the bunnies first, and then we'll fill in the areas around the bunnies after. And I am using a dotting tool, and I'm using the tiniest part of the dotting tool, and I'm just tapping that color right into that image. It's basically like, think of it as coloring. You're just filling in that image, and this is a trust the process kind of moment. So it looks like a hot mess. It doesn't look, it looks like we just created a blob on the stamper, right? But once you flip that stamper over, you're gonna see we are coloring in the image, and it's a really fun, relaxing way to incorporate some nail art. I love reverse stamping so much. And again, we're just tapping ever so gently onto that stamper. So once you have the gel polish, you are just filling in that area with a light tap. And you want to make sure that once you go ahead and remove that dotting tool, that if you need to go back on that area and pick up some more polish, you're doing that right away. Because what's going to happen is once that polish starts to dry, if you go back in with your dotting tool, you're going to naturally pick up that image on your dotting tool once it's dry, and then you're going to have to start all over. So let's say you messed up and you needed to start over. All you would do is you would take a lint-free roller or a piece of tape and just go ahead and place that on top of the stamper. It would remove that image, and then you would just have to pick up your image again. But the dotting tool works wonders for me. I really like this method. And the hardest part out of this whole thing for me when it came to the stamping was picking out what colors I wanted to use. So I know I wanted to pull in some pastels first, just for those little bunnies to kind of tie in the colors of the nails. And then we are going to amplify this a little bit more and add more bright colors when we are filling in the flowers. And just the beauty, this one right here is really fun because there's carrots on here. We also have these little cherries, and then we have these tiny little flowers. We're going to end up incorporating 13 different color stamping polishes when it comes to both of the images that we're using today. So I had a lot of fun with this. Make sure when you are doing reverse stamping or anything like this that you designate a little bit of time for the stamping process, because this right here, filling in the stamper, does take a little bit of time. And the best part about this is that you don't have to hurry up, because if the polish is dry, it's totally okay. You're still going to be able to get the image on there. I'm going to show you in a really easy, flawless way to transfer the image here in just a few moments. But you can really just take your time and just fill in the stamper and just pick different colors, and you can throw in as many colors as you want, or you could focus on 3 to 4 colors. Or if you really wanted a quick stamping nail look that still is pulling in all those spring vibes, you could just, when we picked up the image on the stamper before we filled it in, you could just go ahead and use that image and put it on your nail without filling it in, and you're still going to get a really cute spring design. All right, so enough chit chat. let's get into filling in the rest of the colors on the jelly stamper, and then I will pop in when it's time to place the image on the nail. All right, so here's what our jelly stamper looks like, and then we're gonna turn it around, and this is when you can really see everything coming together, and it's still kind of a trust the process moment. It's gonna look way better once we apply it to the nail, so hang tight. So what we're gonna do to get this image on the nail, I'm doing a layer of transfer foil. So I'm doing a very thin layer. You apply it just like you would your gel base or gel top coat. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop this nail in the lamp and cure for 60 seconds. Once that's cured, I'm gonna line up the image exactly where I want it. Make sure you have it exactly where you want it before you press it down, because once you press down, that is where that image is going to stay. And then I'm just pressing and rolling that stamper onto the nail, and check it out. We have the perfect transfer. Now, if you're looking for a gel alternative when you're applying a full coverage nail stamp like this, Maniology does have a sticky base that you can use that does not require UV light. So I will also link that as an alternative in the description box below, but check it out. We have a really fun, just the ultimate spring nail right here. It's cute, it's adorable, it is everything. Now to seal this in, I am going to do a layer of gel base. I'm going to apply it to the entire nail, and then I'm going to cure that for 30 seconds. So let's say you applied the stamping image to the nail and you didn't like it and you wanted to start over. All you would do is just take a little bit of acetone and go ahead and wipe that away with a lint-free wipe, and then you can start over. Now we're going to get into a more intricate stamping. This one has a lot of details in it. So we went ahead and cleaned up our stamper. We're going to go ahead and pick up the image. I'm still going to use that black stamping polish, and check it out. This one has way more detail in it. It still has the bunnies, it has tons of flowers, and it also has grass. So it's going to be a little bit more intricate. All right, so we're going to clean up the rest of that image here. I'm just getting rid of anything that we do not need on the nail, and I'm just using the same tape that I use for color blocking. It's a 3M medical tape. That's the tape that I like to use for any of my nail art, and it works wonders when you are cleaning up your stamper. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to pick a whole bunch of colors and start filling in the image. All right, so enough chit chat. Let's dive into this nail stamping, and then I'm going to pop back in at the end with my final thoughts.
Once felt I'm done with the defense, drove back and climbed over your fence, had to show you that I was a mess. So you were shrugging your shoulders, I'm closed off, that's what I told you. Soon enough, everything started to change, 'cause there's no going back, no going back, there's no going back to your old life. Not living in the past, we're over that. I'm feeling it tonight, riding on the dizzying heights. Riding on the dizzying heights. I felt like stop us. Sunsets, remember the colors. They were wrong, it was way more than a dream. We climbed up, yeah, over the hillside. So right, we stood there all wide-eyed. You and I floated on air in my mind. 'Cause there's no going back, no going back. There's no going back to your old life. Not living in the past, we're over that. I'm feeling it tonight, riding on the dizzying heights. I'm standing on the dizzying heights. Everything so much better, riding high on your river. You and I, we're climbing way up together, standing on dizzy heights. You make everything so much better, riding high on your river. You and I, we're climbing way up together, standing on dizzy heights. There's no going back, no going back. There's no going back to your old life. Not living in the past, we're over that. I'm feeling it tonight, riding on the dizzying heights. Oh, I'm standing on the dizzying heights. Oh, I'm standing on the dizzying heights. Oh, I'm standing on the dizzying heights. Standing on the dizzying heights. Everything so much better, riding high on your river. You and I, we're climbing way up together, standing on dizzy heights. You make everything so much better, riding high on your river. You and I, we're climbing way up together, standing on the dizzying heights.
You say you don't wanna get in trouble, that you're doing fine cause you got me. I don't wanna break your little bubble, but you gotta wake up to reality. Cause I can see in your eyes, your head is full of dreams. Tears are a proof of failure, you just gotta let them flow without judge. There's so many ways to be happy. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to be ready. You just gotta trust the right. Don't have to be scary. You just gotta follow the light. You're able to be happy. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to be ready. You don't have to be. I see you hesitating while you're waiting, like somebody's gonna give it to you. You gotta chase it, gotta believe it. You gotta go get it for yourself. Cause I can see in your eyes, your head is full of dreams. Tears are a proof of failure, you just gotta let them flow without judge. There's so many ways to be happy. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to be ready. You just gotta trust the right. Don't have to be scary. You just gotta follow the light. You're able to be happy. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to be ready. You don't have to be. You don't have to be ready. You don't have to be. You are like me. There's so many ways to be happy. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to be ready. You just gotta try.
All right, now we're stamping the image on the nail, and this one right here, this was a little bit of a bigger surface, so you can see we have some of that image hanging over the nail. I'm going to show you a really easy way to clean that up. There's a couple different options. You could peel it off if you want, otherwise you can use an orange wood stick, and you could also gently file and buff it away. So I'm just going to just slightly with the lightest hand, because I do not want to change the shape of the nail. I'm just going to go ahead and just do a slight file under it, and then I'm going to use the orange wood stick just to remove all that extra stamping image that is hanging over the side. But it's really easy to clean up, and we have the most adorable stamping image transfer right here. I really like this one. This one's definitely my favorite. I like all the attention to detail. All the colors are here. They just flow together. It's like the perfect pop of color. See how this one's really bright? That's why I didn't want to have that pinky nail that was like that bright green, because I didn't want to take away from all this really beautiful stamping that we just did. And if you are not into like the spring style with the cutesy bunnies, Maniology has tons of stamping plates. You're definitely going to find something that catches your eye. And I love their stamping plates and their polishes. They are by far the easiest plates and stamping polishes I've ever worked with. So here's what it looks like. I love this so much. So to seal this in, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do a layer of gel base, and I'm going to apply that to all the nails. I'm going to make sure I cap that free edge as well, and then I'm going to cure that for 30 seconds. And then when that's done curing, we're going to finish up today with a layer of gel top coat. I did debate if I was going to do a matte finish, because a matte finish with this would look fantastic as well, but I decided we're going to go in with a glossy finish. So I'm going to apply that to all the nails, and then I'm going to cure for a full 60 seconds. And here's the finished set. I really love it. It screams spring. We have these very soft colors coming through, and then we have the perfect pops of color with the nail stamping. So everything that we use in today's video can be found in that description box below. Stay tuned. We have some more fun spring manis coming your way, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one.